Hello everyone, this is a tutorial talking about the basics of GitHub. Um, Assuming that you already have a GitHub account, this should be a similar screen to what you get when you log into your account. To get started, the first thing you really need to do is either click this link to download the GitHub bash program. That link will bring up this website, and you hit this link right down here to get to the latest version of Git. That'll bring you to this website, and then you select which operating system you are running. And then once you click that, it'll download an installer. And once that's downloaded, just go through the installer. It's pretty simple. You just click next on all of it and go with the defaults because that's the best. Unless you know exactly everything that's involved with all that, I wouldn't change anything to it. Once you have the Git Bash program downloaded and installed, open it up and Git Bash. And then the first thing what we want to do is we want to configure our username and email address that is associated with GitHub. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to do the username. So we want to do git config -- global user.name, and then enter in your username that is associated with your GitHub account, and then put that in double quotes and then hit enter. And then the next line we do is we want to do the same git config -- global user.email, and then we want to insert our email address that is associated with our GitHub account, and double quotes as well. Now, after we've configured our Git Bash program, first thing that we want to do is we want to create a repository. So on your home page, you scroll down, and then right here, click on the new repository, and then we want to give it a name, and we're just going to name this one a tutorial. And then we want to add a description. And then we want to click the initialize this repository with a README, which will take this description that we filled in here that's optional. And then you hit create repository. Now you have a repository. Now that we have a repository created out on GitHub, now what we want to do is clone that to our own machine. And so that we want to do is we want to navigate in the Git Bash program to the location that we want it to be stored. I'm just going to put it on my second drive, and I'm going to put it right there. So then the command that we want to do to download this repository to our machine is git clone, then https://github.com, and that's all important. It's got to be just like that. And then the username that the repository is associated with, and mine is LegEraser18. And then the name of the repository, which is tutorial, and it is case sensitive, .git. And then it's going to go through and clone it, and then we want to change the directory into that. And then you notice here it's got master. That is a good way to know that you are in the correct folder that has a GitHub repository associated with that. Now, since there isn't any files associated with this repository really, let's create one. So open up a text editor, open up a new file, and then we're just going to make a text file just to make this simple. And then we want to save that, and then we want to save it to where we have the repository, and it's right here. This is where I saved it, and we're just going to name this test1.txt and save that. Then we want to open up the bash again, and then because we added a completely new file, we have to do a git add and then the name of the file that we just added with the extension, and then we want to commit this so that it's ready to go. So commit, and we want to do a -m. The M stands for message, and we want to give it a message in single or double quotes, it doesn't matter. And then you hit enter, and then it tells you that you got one file that's changed, and then we want to do a push, and this actually pushes it out to the repository that's on GitHub. Because up to this point, all that we've done is stuff on our own local machine, and anyone else viewing the repository online won't see the changes that we've just done until we do the git push. And so then it's very simple. It's either git push, or sometimes you might have to add in git push origin master. You hit that, and then it's going to ask you for your username or email address that's associated with GitHub. So mine's that, and then you put in your password, and then it's going to upload that stuff. So let's go over and check out our repository on GitHub. You hit refresh, and there's test1. And that's exactly like the file that we just created. Now say we want to edit that. And so we just go in on our own machine and add a new line. Very simple. And then you save it. And because it's already created, we can do a little shortcut with bash. You go git commit -am. So it's adding all the stuff that's been modified, and the M stands for a message again. And then we put in the message. Hit enter, and then do a git push again. Put in our username. Oops. And password. Then it uploads that again. So we come here, and it's changed. If we go back to the main thing, we can see that that simple modification message shows up right there. Once you start using GitHub a little bit more, you may have more than one people working on one project, and so someone else might be making some changes and then do a push themselves. And you always want to be working with the most current version of the repository. And so what I've done is I've gone on here to the repository online, and I've added this file. As you can see, it's just to show that some other user has added some stuff. Now this is on the repository online, but it is not on my local computer. As you can see, when we go to the git bash and go to where the repository is, and this is where it is on my machine, and you do an ls to list everything that's in there, you can see that the readme is in there and the test1 is in there, but not this new file of other user text. You know, as you can see, there's 3 files here. So what you should do when you want to make any changes, when you start coding new things or anything, to always do a git pull before you start making any changes to anything. So the first thing you do is you navigate to where the repository is on your machine, and then do a git pull. You might have to do a git pull origin master, but I just have to do a git pull. You hit enter, and it goes, and it says it downloaded a new file, and now it's on our machine now. So if we do an ls, you can see that the other user text is there. And just to show you that what it looks like if nothing's been changed since the last time you did a poll, is you can do a get poll again, and it will go out there and check, and it will say that you're already up to date. So this is something that you should do very first thing before you start making any changes to any of the code in the repository. And then once you're done making those changes, do a get push. So then that way, someone else that's on the repository can go in there and do their git pull, and then they have the updated code. This has been a very simple and basic tutorial on how GitHub works. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.